Hey everyone, Two Angry Frogs here, and today we're going to walk through the new crafting system introduced with Dragonflight. The new crafting system brings a lot of changes and updates to what we have been familiar with in the past, and is with any new WoW system a bit of a learning curve. Our goal with this video is to help you get started quickly to take advantage of what's new. In addition, we'll pass along a few tips and tricks that we have learned along the way. You will see two new icons in the upper left corner of our how-to videos going forward. An exclamation point icon indicates an important point to be aware of, and the tip icon is something that we have learned along the way that may point out something you may not be aware of, or something that makes your WoW gameplay easier. We hope this helps everyone even more as we break down the game. But before we begin, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you always know what we're up to next. And thank you to everyone for your support. Now, let's get into it. So let's start by taking a look at the crafting window. To open the window, you will need to visit a crafting station specific to your profession. Crafting stations for all professions can be found in the Artisans Market in Valdrakken, as well as a few other locations across the Dragon Isles. When you activate a crafting station, you will see the default interface. The Recipes tab of the interface should be somewhat familiar, showing your current skill level, recipes you have learned, and reagents required for the selected recipe. What may be new for you is the use of profession gear, crafting secondary stats, crafted item quality levels, and the ability to use optional and finishing reagents for your crafted items. In this window, recipes can be filtered in a number of ways to find first craft recipes, recipes that provide skill points, recipes from older expansions, and so on. When you select a recipe, a number of details related to the item are shown. First, at the top of the window, a crafted item icon and item name are shown. If you hover over the icon, it will show you the item level that will result if you craft the item. This will change depending on the quality of reagents, optional reagents, and finishing reagents that you use. In this window, you can also track a recipe, which when tracked is added to your objectives. This can be useful in tracking what materials you need when you are at the auction house or farming reagents for a specific recipe. One of the new things added in Dragonflight is the ability to specialize in your chosen professions. Each profession has a number of specialization trees, and it's up to you to determine what you find most important and want to tackle first. To unlock specializations, you need to reach skill level 25 in your profession. Once unlocked, you fill out your specialization trees by collecting knowledge points. There are 4 types of non-repeatable activities that you can do to gain knowledge points. The first is by talking to profession masters. These NPCs are located all across the Dragon Isles, and there is one profession master for each profession. By simply talking to them, you will gain 5 knowledge points for crafting professions and 10 knowledge points for gathering professions. The second type of non-repeatable activity is knowledge treasures. These only apply to crafting professions, and treasures can be located in Dragon Isle zones, Forbidden Reach, Zerlek Cavern, and the Emerald Dream. There are between 12 and 15 knowledge treasures, depending on your crafting profession, and each treasure awards 3 knowledge points. We provided direct links to the locations of profession masters and knowledge treasures, as opposed to relisting them all here. You can find these links to Wowhead in the video description below. The third type of non-repeatable activity is through reaching specific renown or reputation levels with Dragon Isle factions. For example, we see here that Aku Druid will be awarded alchemy knowledge points with the Marok Centaur when reaching renown 14 and renown 24. You can also buy research books from the Artisans Consortium Quartermaster Rabul when reaching higher reputation levels with the Artisan Consortium. Finally, the first time you craft a recipe, you are awarded 1 knowledge point. This is a very good reason to try and craft all recipes at least once. For mining and herbalism, you gain a knowledge point the first time you mine a new type of ore or pick a new type of herb. Unfortunately, for skinning, you cannot acquire knowledge points in this way. In addition to one-time activities, there are a number of repeatable activities that you can do to gain knowledge points. For gathering professions, when you're gathering herbs or skins, you can randomly receive special items that award either 1 or 3 knowledge points. You can also randomly receive crafting item drops from treasures and mobs across the Dragon Isles that award crafting profession knowledge points. Another repeatable random item that you can receive is Dragon Shards of Knowledge. To begin receiving these, you need to complete a small quest line that starts with Hephaestus at the Ruby Life Pools. Note that if you have already completed this quest line on your main character, you can skip this when talking to Hephaestus. After completing this questline, you will be able to collect and turn in dragon shards of knowledge to Master Artisan Kadin in the Onaran Plains, and each shard awards 1 knowledge point in the profession that you choose. Dragon shards of knowledge can be looted from open world treasures such as Expedition Scout Packs, and do not have a weekly limit, but are quite rare. After each weekly reset, your profession trainers will offer a quest which awards an item granting 3 knowledge points in that profession. To gain access to these quests, you must have World Quests and Adventure Mode opened, and have a skill of at least 50 in your chosen profession. Another weekly repeatable activity you can do is gaining knowledge points through Draconic Treatises. These are crafted by players with the Inscription skill, which you can request through a work order. Since these are bind on pickup, they cannot be purchased on the auction house. There is a treatise for each profession, and a treatise can be used once per week to gain 1 knowledge point. Finally, you can gain knowledge points once per month at the Dark Moon Fair. There is a quest for each Dragon Isles profession that can be completed when the Dark Moon Fair is active. When completed, these quests award 2 skill points and 3 knowledge points in the profession. In addition to gaining knowledge, this is a great way to increase skill points as you land in that level 80 to 100 skill in your profession. An important note to remember about specialization trees is that knowledge points cannot be refunded once they are spent, so it is permanent. However, there are enough ways to collect knowledge points to eventually fill in all specialization trees. The primary decision really comes down to what you want to invest in first. We do not intend to cover specialization trees in detail for every profession in this video, as that would be a very long video. But we do encourage everyone to take some time to get familiar with your specialization trees before you invest knowledge points. Know what each tree will open up for you, so you can determine what tree you want to focus on first. To understand how to craft items, we need to return to the crafting interface window. We'll start with the quality or item level of the crafted item. Crafting quality has 5 tiers for items such as gear, and 3 tiers for stackable items such as potions and enchants. The crafting quality of the selected recipe can be seen by hovering over the rank icon on the left side of the skill level bar in the crafting details pane. If the quality or item level is not the maximum that can be created, there is also an icon on the right of the bar that shows what quality or item level results if your skill is high enough. So how do we know the skill level needed? This is determined by the recipe difficulty and the skill number in the crafting details. To craft the recipe to the next higher level quality or item level, your skill must be equal to or greater than the recipe difficulty. There are a number of variables that are used to determine this skill level. First is the quality of the reagents being used. You can select the reagent quality in one of 2 ways. The first is by clicking on the reagent itself. This brings up a window allowing you to select the quality and number of reagents of that quality to be used. You can also default to using only the highest quality reagents by checking the Use Best Quality Reagents box. Second is the use of any optional reagents. In most cases, using optional reagents such as Enchanted, Crests, and Embellishments will negatively impact the skill score. The level of impact is determined by the quality of the optional reagent used. Next are any finishing reagents that you use. Finishing reagents, such as Illustrious Insight, can positively impact the skill rating. Finally, skill points that you gain from applying knowledge in specialization trees will raise the skill level. So with any complex craft, there is a bit of math involved. Note that the secondary stat Inspiration can increase skill level as well, but it's not guaranteed. You can determine the percentage chance of a craft being inspired and the increase it will provide in skill level by hovering over the inspiration text in the details window. Finally, to craft the selected item, simply click the Create button. So with an understanding of how to craft our own items, the next area to cover is how to supply and request crafted items as it relates to other players. This is where work orders come in. To submit a work order, visit one of the crafting order clerks in the Artisans Market in Valdragon. When you talk to a clerk, the work order request window opens. In a similar manner to the auction house interface, you can either search for or use the drop-down listings to find the item you want crafted. When you select the item you want crafted, you will see the Place Crafting Order window that shows the reagents that are required. Optional reagents must always be provided by the player submitting the work order. The crafter cannot provide these. You can choose to submit this as a public work order, which is seen and can be filled by anyone on your server. Guild work orders, which as its name implies, are only seen and fulfilled by other members in your guild. And personal work orders, which are sent directly to the player specified in the to text box. You can specify a minimum quality if it is a personal or guild work order. Commission is the gold paid to the crafter for crafting the item. And finally, you can set how long the crafting order will remain listed. Once you have provided all the required information, the Place Order button will be available for you to submit the work order. So before we talk about how to fulfill an order, a public service announcement for all crafters. Unfortunately, there are individuals looking to scam and take advantage of players that may not have deep knowledge of the crafting system. The scam is basically to try and get items crafted very cheaply by tricking the crafter into providing expensive reagents and then reselling the fulfilled order on the auction house for profit. In other cases, you may see players trying to get an item for way below cost, and the difference between the cost to craft and the commission will be completely unreasonable. So always know what reagents you are providing and what you are being paid to craft the item versus what it is costing you to craft the item. To see public, guild, and personal work orders, you need to open your profession window at the crafting station. In the tabs at the bottom of the window, you will see a Crafting Orders tab. Selecting this will open the Crafting Orders interface. And at the top of the window, you'll see a Public tab and, if applicable, Guild and Personal tabs. You can click each of these to search and see what work orders have been requested. Current orders will be listed on the right of the window, showing the item, the player who submitted the order, the commission being paid, and the remaining time on the work order. To fulfill a work order, select the order and the crafting order window opens for that specific item. Like with the crafting window, you'll see your crafting details for the item along with the quality and item level that results when you craft it. If a player specifies a minimum quality, make sure you can craft the item at that quality. If you decide to fulfill the order, click the Start Order button. You can decide to cancel the order for any reason by clicking the Cancel Order button, and then the order is put back into the listings. In the bottom right of the window, you will see a Create button to start creating the item. If you are required to supply any reagents, a dialog box will pop up warning you that you are providing reagents, and you will need to acknowledge this before the crafting begins. It's important to note here that although the item has been crafted, the order has not been completed. You must hit the Complete Order button in the bottom right of the window for the item to actually be sent to the requester and for you to receive the commission. In some cases, a craft may require a specific type of crafting station, depending on the profession. These include the Altar of Decay for leatherworking and alchemy, the Earthwarder's Forge for blacksmithing, Temporal and Azure Looms for tailors, and Shadowflame crafting benches for blacksmithing, engineering, leatherworking, and enchanters. If the craft must be completed at a special crafting station, this is indicated in red text under the name of the item. So before we wrap up with work orders, a tip for how to easily complete the weekly Artisan Consortium quest and help your alts as well. You can send personal work orders to your other characters as long as they are on the same server or server cluster. So if I need to fulfill 3 leatherworking orders for the weekly quest, I can simply log onto another character on that server, put in 3 personal work orders to ATQ, and have them fulfill those 3 orders to complete the weekly quest. In the same manner, I can also have my druid send a work order to ATQ if he needs a specific piece of leather armor or other leatherworking related item. This is a great way to help all of your alts out. Recrafting is new to Professions in Dragonflight and allows you to craft an item again with a reduced number of reagents. This is useful for crafting an item again at a higher eye level or quality, changing the item's secondary stats, and so on. To recraft an item, select the recraft recipe type in your recipes list. This will show a pop-out of the items you have equipped and in your inventory that can be recrafted. Once you select the item, the crafting process works just as described previously, but will require less reagents to craft than the original item. You can submit a work order for a recraft in the same way as any other work order by selecting the Start Recrafting Order option in the item dropdown. In the Place Crafting Order window, you will now see the current item icon, and to the right, a recrafted item icon and name showing the result if the item is recrafted with the supplied reagents. It is important to note that recrafting can only be submitted as a personal order, so either another player or one of your other characters must be specified to fulfill the recrafting order. As with work order requests, Fulfilling recrafting work orders essentially works the same way as any other work order you fulfill. You can find recrafting requests in the Personal Work Orders tab of the Crafting Orders window. To craft the highest level gear requires special reagents such as sparks and enchanted crests. With this higher gear, you can also add embellishments that improve some aspect of your character, whether it is damage done, being able to withstand more damage, or other non-combat related improvements. For Season 3, high-level crafted gear requires Spark of Dreams, which is obtained by combining 2 splintered Spark of Dreams. Enchanted Crests must be obtained from an enchanter through a work order. To start, you must have a nascent crest of the type you want crafted. To get the nascent crest reagent, visit Andorus and the Valdraken Artisan Market. Enchanted Crests can be crafted at Whelpling, Worm, and Aspect levels, with each respectively supporting a higher range of crafted gear item levels. You will also need several other enchanting reagents which can be bought on the auction house. Once you have all reagents, you will need to submit a work order for the Enchanted Crest. You can see what item level range is used for each crest by hovering over the crest in the optional reagents when crafting. These higher level crafted items also use PvP item enhancements that increase the item level for PvP gear. You will note that when using enchanted crests, embellishments, and missives to specify secondary stats, it will add difficulty to the recipe. The difficulty increase is determined by the quality level of the embellishment or missive. While you may see the quality level of an item decrease, the item level is increased to the new range. Note that you can only wear 2 pieces of crafted gear that have an embellishment, and in some cases, like with the adaptive Dracothist arm guards, gear will have a preset embellishment when it is crafted. The only exception to this is the alchemical flavor pocket embellishment, which will not count toward the 2 maximum. Another new area with Dragonflight crafting is profession gear. Each profession, including fishing and cooking, has its own set of gear that can be crafted at different quality and item levels depending on the crafter's skill. All professions but fishing have a set of gear, accessories, and a crafting tool. Fishing does not have accessories but does have a crafting tool, namely a fishing pole. You can see any profession gear you have equipped in the top right corner of the crafting window. Profession gear can increase your skill level as well as profession-related secondary stats, and in addition, you can add enchants to your profession gear and crafting tools to increase secondary stats. You can choose to not switch to your profession gear when gathering and crafting by talking to Mara Treebender at the Ruby Life Pools. Mara will give you the option of limiting profession gear shown on your character, and you can freely switch back and forth depending on your preference. There are a number of secondary stats that have been added to professions in Dragonflight. For crafting professions, there are 4 secondary stats. Inspiration, which gives you a percentage chance to be inspired, crafting the recipe with extra skill. Resourcefulness, which gives you a % chance to use fewer reagents. Multi-craft, which gives you a % chance to craft additional items. And crafting speed, which makes your crafting some percentage faster. For gathering professions, there are 3 secondary stats. Finesse, in which you have a percentage chance to gather more items. Deftness, which increases your gathering speed. And Perception, which increases your ability to spot rare reagents, including special items that award knowledge points. There are a lot of new areas to Dragonflight crafting, and it takes a bit of time using your professions to really get the hang of it. However, it can be very rewarding to be able to craft the highest item level weapons and gear for your character, and take advantage of the benefits that come with adding embellishments and other optional reagents to improve your character and the playstyle you engage most, whether PvE or PvP. While we do expect some minor modifications coming with Season 4, anticipated sometime in March-April, we do not expect to see any wholesale changes to the system until War Within. So there is still a lot of time to take advantage of the crafting system in its current state. Let us know what you think down below in the comments, and if there's anything you would like to see in future videos. And everyone, have a great day.